on the second line. Tan Rabban Tad. Sukkah Gzula. Somebody steals a sukkah. V'mesakich b'shus harabim. Somebody who builds a sukkah in Rishus harabim, which is also stealing from the people. Rebbe Eliezer Paiso, l'cham machshir. Eliezer says the sukkah is pasul, and the Chum say it's kosher. So what's the case? What are they arguing about? Amar of Nachman, machlokes v'shetekev es chaverei v'yitzia misukasei. Machlokes when somebody grabs his friend and removes him from his sukkah. Rebbe Eliezer l'tamei, Rebbe Eliezer is going to his reasoning. The Amar who says, Ein adam yitzli chavasa b'sukasei shechaverei. A person is not yitzli his chiyuv in someone else's sukkah. So either way, you're not going to be yitzli. Ikar can exhaust if ground can actually be stolen. Sukkah gzuli, so it's a stolen sukkah. V'inam ikar can exhaust, and if ground can't be stolen, so then sukkah shuli, you just borrowed a sukkah without asking. You're also not yitzli. It has to be yours. So either way, you're stealing. Rabbanan l'tamayim. The Rabbanan go according to their reasoning. The Army for they say, Adam yitzli chavasa v'sukkah shechaverei. A person could be yitzli his chiyuv with the sukkah of his friend. The karka ain't exelos, and you can't steal karka. It is what it is. The ground doesn't move. The sukkah shuli, so it's a borrowed sukkah, and according to Rabbanan, the borrowed sukkah is good. So Nachman says that's the machlokes. But in a case where gazal eitzim v'sikech behen, if somebody stole wood, not a sukkah, somebody stole wood, the sikech behen, they made a sukkah out of them. Divrei Yaakov, everybody would agree, ein loy elod meitzim, all he's able to get back is the value of the wood. The Gazlan only has to pay for the wood. He does not have to give back the actual wood. He actually owns it. He owns it 100%. He owes money, but he owns it. Once he owns it, he could be Yaitzeh, his sukkah, and that is where we're up to. We're up to Memai. What do you say?
So Nachman only saying like he's talking about in the case of Gezel and not Rabban?
He's saying the case is right. With Nachman saying, you say whether say Hamasakik b'shus harabim, that one?
Yeah.
You want to know about Masakik b'shus harabim? No, because that one you're stealing from the public, so that one's easier. There's no way to. You're stealing by being in there. Even if karka is not an exelis, you're stealing from the people. So I think there everybody would agree that that's no. Sorry. No, right. Chana says question. Right. Making a sukkah. So you're asking. It's like ejecting other people from where they are. So I'm sorry. Right, it'd be the same case. Thank you. I didn't think about that. I'm thinking about the Sukkah Gzula case. When you make a Sukkah in Rishus harabim, and it's like I'm ejecting you out of that area and building something there. So in a way, it's the same concept. It's what? Right, so we paskin that's kosher. So that's why I think it's okay. How do Rav Memai? How do Rav Nachman know from our Brisa? It says nothing. All it says is Sukkah Gzula. How are we able to tell from there that the case was where the way he stole the sukkah was by ejecting his friend? Maybe he stole wood and built a sukkah. Where did Rav Nachman get it from in the words of the Brisa that we're talking about stealing actual sukkah? Where do we see that from? This actually addresses your question in a way. The Gemara says, Memai, from where did he get it from? Where's his raya? Midiktani, because the Brisa says, Dummi Rishus harabim, a comparable case to Rishus harabim, right? It was Sukkah Gzula, and the case comparable was Mesakik b'Rishus harabim. So whenever you have a Brisa saying two cases, they're probably very similar. Ma Rishus harabim, Karka Lavdidehu. The same way in the case of the Rishus harabim, where a guy builds a sukkah on Commonwealth, that's not his ground, that's the case. Sukkah Nami, the case of Sukkah Gzula is also a case of Lav Karka Dideu, where it's not your Karka. That is how Rav Nachman figured out how our Bryce is talking about where you stole the actual sukkah, not where you stole the sukkah, but where you ejected the guy out of the sukkah and stole the land. Because the second case is the Rishus harabim case, and that's also a case where you're stealing land from other people. So the sukkah case is where you're stealing land. Okay. The Gemara brings down a story. We have a story now, and the story has to do with these concepts of stealing wood and building a sukkah. Okay, stealing wood, building a sukkah. Says the Gemara, Hahi Safta. There was an old lady. People think the word Sab and Safta. I don't know if you call your grandparents Sab and Safta. It's not a lashon hakodesh word. It's an Aramaic word, but in modern Ivrit, it's also Sav and Savta. I don't know where they got it from, because it's a Gemara Savta, it's Aramaic. An old lady is called a Savta in Aramaic. I think maybe Bipnei Seva Takum, it comes from that word and could be a Samach and interchangeable with a sin. Anyways, there was this old lady, the Asoy L'Kameder of Nachman. She came in front of Rav Nachman. Amrle, she said to him, Reish Galusa, the Reish Galusa, I'll explain to you what he is in a second. This guy, the Reish Galusa, the head of the Galus, the Kulu Rabban and the Bei Reish Galusa, and all the Rabban and all the rabbis that are part of Debei, means the household of the Reish Galusa. The Sukkah Gzula Yasri, they're sitting in a stolen sukkah. This was her claim. She says the Reish Galusa and all the rabbis that are with him are sitting in a sukkah Gzula. And what she was saying is, I'm telling you, the Reish Galusa's servants, they stole wood from my garage. It's my wood. And they built a sukkah, and the sukkah they're in is stolen. That was the case. That was her claim. Her claim was that the Reish Galusa's servants stole wood from her house and built a sukkah. And she says these guys are sitting in a stolen sukkah, and therefore they're not Yotzeh. They're not Yotzeh. Pause for 1 second here. Who was the Reish Galusa? So, from the times of during Bayis Risha, before the Beis Hamikdash was destroyed, the first one, most of Klal Yisrael went into Galus to Bavel. Eventually, after the Churban Bayis Risha, everybody went to Bavel. But when they went to Bavel, they needed a leader, and Bavel allowed there, which is a chiddush. Bavel allowed for nations within their nation to have their own leaders and gave them a lot of power. Extreme, not even ruchnius power, like a physical gashmius type of power. And the guy that was in charge of the Jewish people in Bavel was called the Reish Galusa, the head of the Galus, because they were in exile. Okay, in Eretz Yisrael, that was the head of the ruchnius. Always the head of ruchnius was in Eretz Yisrael, and that was the Nasi. But the Reish Galusa was more chashiv than the Nasi in many ways. Why? Because you can never be a leader of Klal Yisrael unless you come from David HaMelech, from Shevi Yehuda. The Reish Galusa came from a Ben Acher Ben from David, while the Nasi was from the female line of David's family. It means could be his mother was David's, daughter, or his mother was David's sister. It's something from the wife, while the Reish Galusa was from the male descendants. The Reish Galusa was typically a very chashuv person. It was a shteller. It was a very chashuv shteller. It usually was a person who was, I'm not saying the biggest Talmid Chacham, but was not a slouch. Every once in a while, there was a bad Reish Galusa. Somebody who took advantage, known for bad things. But besides for that, even when there were good Reish Galusas, this was very common, that his servants, the people that took care of things, his henchmen, were not good people. This is classic. You'll find very often the Reish Galusa's household, doesn't mean his kids, the people who were in his household running things were not good. And she was claiming that the Reish Galusa's avadim stole wood and built it into a sukkah. Now, if somebody would ask you that question right now, if you were of Nachman, would that bother you? The answer is, let's see what he says. Says the Gemara.
They built the complete sukkah or just part?
They took wood and built a sukkah from her wood. The Gemara continues. Savcha, she was crying out. Tell me it's crying. She was screaming. V'loy ashkach ba Rav Nachman. Rav Nachman did not pay any attention to her claim. Okay? Not that he didn't believe her, he didn't care. Why? Anybody know why? Why would he not care? What? Okay, fine, but they don't say that here. But not even at that. What? Because when you take a piece of wood and you build it into a sukkah, you stole it, but you now own it. You own the wood for two reasons. Either because the owner was miyayish and you did a shinya ma'isa, which did not happen here because she was not miyayish. She's screaming. But there's something called takanas hashavim. That Chazal said that if you go ahead and you steal a piece of wood and you build something, a house, if one piece of wood in this shul is stolen, no one's going to take down the shul. No one's going to do it. A permanent dwelling. Oh, very good. So Yosemir is saying, and it's true, what you see from here is that a sukkah is, and I think you were also talking about yesterday, is permanent enough for sukkahs at least, and we'll see more about it, that we're not going to make him take down the sukkah. So even though she's screaming, Rav Nachman's like, okay, calm down. They're going to owe them, they're going to owe her money, but calm down about the sukkah. They own it now. What?
Why is it telling us from it? I don't know.
Because for sukkahs.
Only if it was built.
Oh, so we'll see the Gemara a little bit more about it. 1 second. Continues the Gemara. Amrle, she said to him, she didn't stop, she kept going. She said, Amrle Itza, the lady said to her. Sorry. Amrle, she said to him, she's referring to herself, Itza, a lady. The Havale Lavua, who her father has, Talas Me V'Tamni Sari Avdi, 318 servants. Talas Me is 300, Tamni Sri is 18. I'm a lady who my father has 318 servants, Avdi servants. And I'm screaming in front of you. And you don't pay attention to me? How can you not pay attention to me? You know who I am?
You're trying to say how rich you are?
Oh, so Pasha sounds like she's rich. But the Mefarshim say she was saying something else, which is, it's very, and everyone struggles what to do with this. She was saying, you know who I come from? And we all come from? Avram Avinu. There's a pasuk, take a look in your Torah or Hashalim. Take a look at Gimel in your Torah or bottom right. It says, this is talking about, you remember the war, the 4 kings and the 5 kings of Avram Avinu? They captured Light, and Avram went to go fight against them. Who was Avram's army? So the pasuk says, Vayishma Avram ki nishba ache, bottom right, in the Gimel. Avram heard that his brother was taken captive. His brother was Light. Vayorek es chanichav yelidei beisai. He armed the people in his household, the children of his house. They weren't his children, but the people growing up in his household. How many people? Shmeina Aser Ushloish Me'ez. 318 servants. Vayir Doifa Dan, and he chased until Dan. Anybody know what was here by Navi last week? He chased until Dan? What do you mean till Dan? What's Dan? Because Dan, they conquered land north of Eretz Yisrael, and even then in the Torah, the Torah calls it Allah Asa Dan because of the story. Okay, now upon him, even if it didn't happen, Allah Asa. Avram had 318 servants. She says, I come from my father, my great grandfather, my Avram Avinu had 318 servants, and you don't listen to me? What is the connection between Avram Avinu and 318 servants? So some people want to say, you see how much Avram Avinu cared about Lot. Lot was Avram's nephew. Lot was captured by massive armies. Forget about Lot. They even had a lot of fights, Avram and Lot. But Maisa, look what he did for family. He stood up, he got 318 servants, and he went to go fight for Lot. Some say 318 is really Eliezer. It's a medrash, like Rashi. But Lamaisa, she says, look how Avram Avinu, he got 318 servants to help his family. We're all part of Klal Yisrael. What are you doing for me? You don't care about me. You should care about me. Interesting sushta, right? Interesting. I've never chosen this as my way to express my upsetness. She's saying, like, you see, take care of people, take care of me. Okay, but so far he hasn't said that. But yeah. Says the Gemara. Omar Lahu. Lahu means to them. He didn't talk to her. He said to them. Who's to them? To his Talmidim. Rav Nachman said to the people around him. Said to them. Amru Rav Nachman said to them, Pa'isahi. She's a crier. She's a screamer. She's one of those ladies. You know those neighbors you have next door? That lady with the curls comes out and screams at the kids.
Karen.
What? Karen, exactly. Usually your name is Karen, not Karen Court. Not Karen Court. But a lady Karen with the curls screaming. She's a screamer, she's a crier. Pisa ihida. She is a crier. Ve'ein la, there's nothing to her, ella, rather, the value of the wood alone. It's not her sukkah. It's not a sukkah gzula. It's theirs, 100% theirs. The time that's stolen, all they owe you is the money. So therefore, they're yaitz to the midst of yeshiva sukkah. Oh, What about mitzvah b'avera? We're going to say that he does not hold a mitzvah b'avera. And like earlier also, he doesn't hold to that concept. There are other answers to that, but that's the easiest answer. Not everyone holds a mitzvah b'avera. If you pay back, it's a shaila exactly. If it's exactly because essay it's masakin the late essay lavinitik say stealing, giving it back. The question is the money. Is it 100%? It could be yes. What?
Doesn't sound like they did the right
They didn't do the right thing, but your claim as a sukkah gzula, it's not a sukkah gzula. Right? It's not. It's a sukkah they stole, but it's now theirs. Then they owe them the wood alone. Okay, says the Gemara Vayter. Amar Ravina. Says Ravina, Hai kishura de mitalalta de gzula Avdile Rabbanan Takanta, Mishim Takana's Marish. Again, Hai Kishura, this beam, the mitalalta of a sukkah. Talalta is the Aramaic for the word sukkah. The gzula that's stolen. Avdile Rabbanan Takanta, the Rabbanan made a takana. Mishim Takana's Marish, because of the takana of a cross beam. What does that mean? Says Ravina, if somebody steals a beam and puts it into their sukkah, the Rabbanan made a takana and said you don't have to return the beam, even if the person is not miyayish. Why? Something called takanas marish. Takanas marish is the same thing we've been talking about till now. Marish means a cross beam. Speak to any guy who's a contractor building. It's very hard to take out a cross beam from a building. Extremely hard. Imagine someone said the cross beams are stolen. That's super hard to get rid of. A little piece of wood, maybe, but a cross beam. So it became a rule that whenever you build from a stolen item, Chazal say you don't have to return it, just pay the money instead. Says Ravina, even the beam of a sukkah, sure the metalalta that's stolen, the Rabbanan did a takana for it as well, because of takana's marsh, because of the famous takana of the cross beam. This is the same thing we've been talking about called takanas hashavim, that you don't have to return back the actual item because it's too hard. Now, if you're ever wondering, so what's Ravina's chiddush? Ravina's chiddush is what Shopsu, everyone's been talking about till now, and that is, you might have thought to take down a house is very hard, but a sukkah is a little temporary structure. So it could be if you steal wood and you make a sukkah out of it. Okay, no, that you have to take apart and give. Says Ravina, no. Even the beam of a metalalta of a sukkah, if someone builds a sukkah, he has the head of takanas marish. The takana, the Chazal said, you don't have to return a cross beam. Rather, you can just return the money. It's too hard to take down a cross beam. No Gazan's going to ever do tshuva. So therefore, even a sukkah that you build, you have this milo.
It's a takana by sukkah or general?
It's a takana general for any time you steal and build. But maybe a big building with a cross beam, but a little sukkah wood, take down your sukkah. Give back the actual item. Well, it's not so hard for you to do that, Mr. Gosling. Give it back. Says Ravina, no, you have this takana. So the Gemara says, Pshita, Maishna Meitzim. Rav Nachman just said this. Why is it different than the Eitzim? Ravina is saying a beam. But earlier, Rav Nachman we just had, where a lady stole wood, they stole wood from the lady, or in the Bryce. So Rav Nachman said this already. What's Ravina coming to add? Gemara says, now the Tema, you might have thought, Eitzim Shchichi. Eitzim, pieces of wood, is very common to find. So I can tell the Nigzal, the person that got stolen from, it's not, let him keep his sukkah, here's the money, just go buy wood at the store, go to Home Depot, it's not so hard to get some wood. So we don't make the Gazan take down the sukkah. But a beam is not so easy to find. We could go to Home Depot, but a beam is much harder. Emaloi, maybe not. Maybe you have to take down the sukkah. So the Nigzal get back his beam. Kamashma, no. The beam of a sukkah, at the end of the day, the Gazan does not have to return it. He's allowed to keep it and just pays back the money instead. The Gemara sticks in, we'll end off with two more lines. V'hani mili b'goy shiva. These words are referring to, b'goy means during the 7 days of Sukkot. That's when you don't have to take down your sukkah. Avulabas or shiva, but after Sukkot, after 7 days of Sukkot, hadar be'enei. You have to return a be'en. You have to give it back as is. You have no excuse to say, I'm not going to take down my sukkah. Sukkot is over. Give back the beam. Give it back. There's no takana that's so hard. So, what? What's a full sukkah mean? The whole sukkah? Take it down anyways.
Then where does the whole thing of you have this date becomes yours?
During sukkahs.
And then you have to give her money and she gives you the money back. And you give her
If the person was never miyai, just takana sashavim. After sukkahs, give it back. You're taking down your sukkah anyways, give it back. But the Gemara says, the chibre betina. But if you connect it with cement, if you have a very chashav sukkah, because some people make very nice sukkahs, and they build it, they make it nice with cement connected. Afilu lakar shiva nami. Even after the 7 days of sukkahs, yohav le'dmei, you just give back money. That already is takana sashavim. We don't make a guy have to return the actual item, and you can rely that you have takana sashavim and give back money instead. We went off tangent about stealing. We come back next week. The next Gemara comes back to the Dalamin and regular halachas of what we're here for. I mean, we're here for everything, but back to the regular schedule of halachas of Dalamin. You made a real festive structure like a house.
but if it wasn't,
I guess we have another
Once and after sukkahs, give back the beam.
There's no one on. There's no one watching.